Hi, I'm Francesca Anastasi. I am a trainer and a consultant in leadership, business, and personal development. And today in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about influence, such an important part of our lives, whether it's for ourselves, in relationships, or in business. Before we start, we need to see what the actual definition, according to the dictionary, what influence is. So as a noun, we have three different descriptions: the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. Second description here is the power to shape policy or ensure favorably treatment from someone, especially through status, contacts, or wealth. And three, a person or thing with the capacity or power to have an effect on someone or something. And as a verb, to have influence on. Now, it is very important to be aware that influence moves in three different directions: incoming, outgoing, and internal. We're going to start with the first one here. We're going to look at incoming influence. What does that mean? So incoming influence is basically how we are influenced. We get influenced from the day we are born. And as you see here from the slide, we have three major ways that we are influenced. One is through sight, and this starts from when we first open our eyes. As children, we want to copy what our parents do. We see grown-ups doing things and we copy what they do as well. And you see kids like to do that. Sometimes they copy other kids. And the other way is through hearing, whether it's conscious or unconscious. The words and also the underestimated tonality, the way those words sounds, the tone of how conversation is taking place also influences how we respond to that. So it does create a form of influence. And then last but not least, it's also how we experience. So it's through our emotions. We get influenced on how we feel around certain circumstances, whether they're life events with family, like children of divorce, or friends, on how they treat us, or how our boss and supervisors and staff treat us. Strangers, are people kind when they're not kind? And you can pretty much can think of any situation where we are being influenced, whether we realize it or not. And here's a little exercise for you. I'd like you to just close your eyes for a second and just think about these questions. Who has influenced you? And what did they do, or are they doing to influence you? Why what they did influence you? And how are you different because of this influence? How are you using this influence to influence others? So you can open your eyes, you take a moment and think about that, or you can take a picture of this slide here and fill out the answers later at your own time. And you may be surprised what you'll come up with. I want to share with you two stories on how two certain events impacted my life and how they influenced me, and how that influence dictated the direction of my thinking and my actions. So when I was in third grade, my family had moved. Just before that, we had moved from Canada. I grew up in Canada from the ages of 1 to 7, and then we moved back to Italy, where my family is originally from. And what happened was I was taken out of grade 1, and when we moved to Italy, I had to get a private tutor so that I could complete the school year, so that I could integrate into the new school system in Italy. And the teacher thought I was so smart and so bright that instead of instead of helping me finish my grade 1, she felt that I was smart enough to do the full curriculum of grade 2 and do my exams as an external student. And I passed with top grades. And then I was put into grade 3. So I skipped grade 2 altogether pretty much. And when I went to grade 3 was a whole new teacher, a whole new set of friends, and didn't help the fact that I have ADHD, and the teacher did not understand my learning style at the time. And she put me at the back of the class because I was having a hard time learning and understanding anything that she was teaching. And when my mom asked her how I was doing in school, she basically told her that I was more stupid than a donkey. And I was there hearing those words. And it didn't matter how well I did after that growing up. My mom took me out of that school, by the way, as soon as she said that. But it didn't matter how well I did. After that, I started believing that I was stupid just because of that one teacher who said that to me. And here is another event that happened, another experience that was incoming influence that also shaped how I acted and responded. So when I was 20 years old, I volunteered to be at a youth summer camp where there were children from ages 8 to 12 that had never learned, they didn't know how to water ski. And basically they were going into this summer camp to learn how to water ski. And I did not know how to water ski at all. I actually had gone water skiing the year prior, wanting to learn. I pretty much drowned and I had given up on the whole idea. So my role at the summer camp was to sit in the boat that was pulling the skiers, and pretty much as a spotter, I was just watching the skiers, and when one of the skiers would fall, I would tell the driver to stop the boat. But what happened was halfway through the camp, the one instructor, there was only one instructor, had to leave on an emergency. And he took me aside and said, Francesca, I need you to teach the next intake of kids. You need to teach them water skiing. And I'm like, I don't know how to water ski. There's no way, I can't do this. No, I can't do this. And he said, yes, you can. You can totally do this. I trust you. I know you can do this. I will teach you on what you have to teach them. And I know that you can do this. And I was very nervous, but he put me through the whole curriculum. He explained to me step by step how to talk to them, how to hold them, how to prep them up, and basically all the words I had to tell them while I was there in the water with them and just help them get up. So he gave me the theory. We didn't actually even do this together in the water. He gave me just the theory. And I was so nervous and terrified, but I had to get in the water. He had to leave. And then the next day, here I was in the water, prepping these kids, teaching them how to water ski, even though I did not know how to do it. One at a time, first try, they would go, and up they went, and they were water skiing. They were so excited. I was like, my goodness, these kids are actually water skiing, and I can't water ski. And what I did is I got myself, after everybody went on, after like a week of doing this, I went on and talked to the driver of the boat, and I said, I need you to take me out. I need to be able to try this. He said, all the kids are going up, why can't I? And while the kids were having dinner, they couldn't see the lake. I got into the water, got into those skis, and I started telling myself all the same things that I told those children. And sure enough, as the boat hit it and I gave my thumbs up, the boat takes away, and up I go. It changed my whole belief system, because now I knew that not only I could teach kids, but I could actually water ski as well. So that was a form of incoming influence, because someone believed in my ability to teach. And that also made me think that maybe I'm not so stupid. If I could teach kids how to water ski, well, I still can water ski. So now, who is in your circle of influence of choice? Of course, we are surrounded by people. Sometimes we don't have the ability to choose who's hanging around us, because of work or because of school. But we also have a choice of who else we want to have in that circle. So ask yourself, who is in your circle of influence of choice, and who else needs to be in it for the kind of influencer person that you want to be. Second, we have outgoing influence. For outgoing influence, you have to understand that you are influential whether you like it or not. Whether you're aware of it or not, we influence constantly, unconsciously, through our nonverbal communication. And we do this through how we look, how we sound, how we move, what we say, and what we do. And this was a study that was done at Harvard University years ago, where 55% of our communication, or visual communication, happens by how we look, and then 38% by how we sound, and only 7% by what we say. So very interesting study there, and statistics, and that's all part of your influence. There was also an experiment done years ago where they had a man, poorly dressed, cross the street at a crosswalk where, when the light was red, I know the image just shows the screen, but just pretend it was red. And as the man crossed the road with the red light, the crowd stayed back. They just let him go ahead. But they did the same experiment with a well-dressed man wearing a suit, a briefcase, looking like a very wealthy person, and with the red light, crossed the street, and everyone behind him looked around and also followed him. Just how he looked, just his posture, just how he carried himself, and the perception he exuded, exuded trust, and people just followed him and as a leader. Now, maybe the person was a crook, it doesn't matter, but we are easily influenced by the people around us. So we influence people on how we are, how we look, how we move, and the perception we give of ourselves to others. So your influence is based on how you are being perceived. So how people see you, what they hear you say, how they hear you say it, and what they see you do. Know your impact. Who are you currently influencing? And what are you doing to influence them? How is it impacting them? And how can you optimize your influence on them? What additional positive ripple effects can you create? And then we have the last direction of influence, and that's internal. This is our own self-influence. This is how we influence ourselves. So studies show that from ages 0 to 7, pretty much our personal belief system is very well formed. But after that, that belief system is either reinforced or completely rejected. Now, here's one exercise for you that on internal influence. If you close your eyes and just answer these questions. Who do you need to be to become the person you really want to be? And what do you need to do? What do you need to say to yourself? What do you need to believe? How do you need to present yourself? And how do you need to act? And then ask yourself, could you be that person now? There's a new level of self-awareness. 88% of what you do is driven by your unconscious mind, and only 12% is conscious choice. And neuroscience has now confirmed that the unconscious mind can be reprogrammed, and our internal self-influence is the most powerful because you are in control. So that's great news right there. So there's no excuses. We are in control, you are in control of who you are, how you act. No one else, can't blame it on anyone else or in circumstances, because we can reprogram any limiting belief that we have. The root of your influence really lies in you. It's inside you. And your ability to influence starts in your subconscious. So what you tell yourself about how you look, what you tell yourself about others, what you tell yourself when things go well and when things go wrong, what you tell yourself when you experience something that you don't really like, and how you take care of yourself and your attitude in all things. Something to really, really underline here is that optimal outgoing influence can only be achieved by first having optimal internal influence. And you as a leader need to be very aware of this. So, whose circle of influence are you in? Who are you impacting? What are your actions and what are your words creating? So when you think about influence, remember to think about it in the 3 different directions. The incoming, how you're being influenced, the outgoing, how you are influencing others, and last but not least, your internal influence, because your internal influence is the core, the most important part on how you as a leader are going to impact and create ripple effects in the world.